Hi guys, so I'm Grace and this is Chris, and we are third year dietetic students at DUville College, and we've already taken a food science class, so we have seen some of it in person. So we picked a couple reactions that we thought that you guys would be interested since you asked for this topic. Sorry about that. The slideshow wasn't moving. So today, our learning objectives that you guys are going to be able to answer will be that you could describe the Maillard reaction, and then you will also be able to give 2 examples of what kind of foods do carry out this reaction. And then you will also be able to describe enzymatic browning and do the same for those type of foods that carry out enzymatic browning as well.
So what is food science? Food science is very broad, and there's a lot that could go into food science, right? There are things that you can't see that are considered food science, like digestion, what your body does with water, what your body does with the food that you eat, how it processes the different foods that you eat, as well as how it gets energy from the foods that you do eat. So food science is very broad on stuff that you can't see, and then there's stuff that you can see, right? You have melting, right? I'm sure we've all experienced some sort of melting, whether that's ice cubes or chocolate or something. Also seen freezing as well, ice cubes, or you put something in the freezer. Burning as well. You cook something too long and it becomes charred and kind of undesirable. And then there's browning, and that's what we're going to talk to you today. Is we picked out 2 reactions that were kind of unique that involve different types of browning and why they happen differently. So why does your food turn brown? Well, there's not a one-size-fits-all answer to that, and there's 2 reactions that we picked out. We picked out the Maillard reaction, which you can see right there with the toast turning from a normal piece of bread to that nice golden brown toast. And then there's also the enzymatic browning, as you can see with that apple right there, how it goes from that nice kind of fresh look to a little bit kind of gross and brown. Both are browning, but they both happen differently. So take a second and think of times that you might have experienced something like this. So before we dive into the science of all this stuff, we just want to note important definitions that you need to know for why these happen. So one reaction uses amino acids. And amino acids, technically, they're described as a simple organic compound containing group with both a carboxyl and amino group. Really, what you need to know about aminos is that they're the building blocks of protein. As long as something has protein in there, it's going to have amino acids in there as well. And that's going to be important for the Maillard reaction. And another definition that we want you to know, or just keep in the back of your head, is enzymes. And basically the enzymes are a substance produced by a living organism which acts as a catalyst to bring about a specific biochemical reaction. What that really means in normal terms is that it helps speed up a reaction in the body, or in this case, some fruit or vegetables, but it can also break things down or carry on some processes that need help with it. So the first one we're going to talk about is a Maillard reaction, and we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't talk about Louis-Camille Maillard himself. He was a French physician and chemist back in the early 1900s, and he's the one who really discovered this enzymatic browning. And as you can see, glasses and facial hair have come a long way since the early 1900s. So what is the Maillard reaction? As we talked about, it was discovered by Mr. Maillard, and it uses heat to achieve that nice browning. And as you can see right in the pictures, there's that nice browning of the steak, and there's that nice browning of the toast, right? And that uses heat as the main driver of this. And it's really the reaction between the sugars, right? We all are familiar with sugars, and those amino acids that we talked about earlier on, those building blocks of protein. So when heat combines those 2, you will get that nice browning of whatever food you're cooking, right? And we listed some examples here: searing of steaks, coffee roasting, toasting of bread. I'm sure you guys probably can think of other ones too that involve the transition of something going from normal to having that nice brown cooked appearance to it, and that is the Maillard reaction.
Then the other reaction is enzymatic browning. And this will happen with your fruits and your vegetables because of one specific enzyme called PPO. And I'm not even going to try to say the name because I'm totally going to butcher it. However, they normally occur when the fruit or the vegetable is peeled, cut, or exposed to abnormal conditions that allow them exposed to air or oxygen. And then as you see in the picture, you'll get the brown speckles all over the banana, which is it also being ripened. However, you can also get it to the point where it's too ripe. If you notice in the picture, the super brown banana would be at a stage that you wouldn't want to consume it. Although, in some cases, you can also use a ripe banana to make banana bread or banana muffins. However, if you do bruise the banana, it can alter the fruit and leave it vulnerable to other parts of enzymatic browning. And if it's left out too long, it will cause spoilage if the enzymatic browning reaction has carried on for too long.
So really, the two different types of browning, as you see, happen for two completely different reasons, but you do achieve a similar color. So the main difference between the Maillard reaction and enzymatic browning are listed right here. So the Maillard reaction is sometimes considered as non-enzymatic browning, which makes sense. And that one uses heat in the presence of sugars and amino acids. And that is a requirement, right? If there is none of those present, it cannot be the Maillard reaction. However, enzymatic browning, it results from the exposure to air from your vegetables that may have been sitting around too long or have been bruised or damaged in some way. And that browning will occur very rapidly if that happens. So these are the two separate ways that browning happens. But as you can see, same color, but different processes.
So this slide shows 2 YouTube videos that we found that we thought were cool in case you guys want to check anything else out about enzymatic browning. It also shows a video on how you can preserve your fruit if you cut it up to make them last a little bit longer before you get that unappealing brown color in them. And then this is also the same for this slide. We found a YouTube video that also shows how the Maillard reaction happens, although it slows it down a little bit so you can see the process forming as it goes.
So even though we just only talked about 2 specific reactions, like we talked about in the beginning, that food science really covers quite a bit. So yes, we talked about the enzymatic browning. Oh, sorry about that. We talked about the enzymatic browning and we talked about the Maillard reaction, but there's other stuff out there for you to check out. And here are some other 2 cool ones that we saw. So caramelization, right? That's the browning of sugar, a process used extensively in cooking for the resulting of a sweet, nutty, and brown flavor. And then there's also crystallization, right? Where you get the hardening of a certain substance. And as you can see, these are sciences because you're going from different states of matter, right? You're going from like a solid to a liquid, or a liquid to a solid, and in the other state of matter, gas. That's really not used here, but sometimes you will see it used in, when water evaporates and you might steam something. That's another way that you can get some food science in there too. It's very, very common, and it happens without anybody really thinking about it. So we created a pop quiz on Kahoot. So if you use your computers or even like your phone or any device that has access to the internet, you can go to kahoot.it, and that's right there, kahoot.it, and you just type in the game pin. The game pin is right there, and it will allow you to do a quick quiz that we made just on everything that we covered here. It's not graded, and it's something that, it's just a quick, knowledge check on what we talked about.
And so one of the questions we want you to think about would be, have you seen or used these reactions at your home? So think about it for a few minutes, jot it down on a piece of paper. If you guys have any questions about what your answers are, Ask your teacher, and your teacher can reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you answer anything or explain anything else to you about any of the reactions that we talked about today.